Good. So welcome. I think this is the pretty nice outing for a Tuesday night in October. Welcome to our council meeting of October 24th, 2023. Oh, sorry, there. So we can call this meeting to order. Before I call the meeting, so for opening remarks, any opening remarks from members of council? Seeing none, I would like to send our regrets that we had some sad news, and tonight's recognition of our firemen is fitting. So for the ones that don't know, Monsieur Bézinet, Fern Bézinet, so better known as Check Fern, Moose Creek, has passed. So our condolences are with the Bézinet family. He was a firefighter for 35 years, plus with the Moose Creek Fire Department. So again, prayer goes out to the Bézinet family. J'aimerais juste mentionner vite fait, Monsieur Fern Bézinet nous a quittés et décédé aujourd'hui avec mention de 35 ans de volontaire comme pompier à Moose Creek, beaucoup mieux connu comme Check Fern. Puis nos prières sont avec la famille Bézinet. Alors, we're going to move on to the opening of the meeting. Oh, 6:30.
Be it resolved that this regular meeting now open at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Deputy Mayor Densham, seconded by Councillor Shane.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Adoption of agenda.
Be it resolved that the agenda be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Shane, seconded by Deputy Mayor Densham.
Any discussions on the adoption? All in favor? Motion is carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest or nature thereof? Seeing none, we're going to move in. So we have two delegations tonight. Mrs. Coons will present us in regards to the community food share. And then we also have Mrs. Bags. I'm not sure where Shauna is. Yeah. So in regards to the small business development office. So we will start by having Jane please present for members of council. So we are receiving so this is no decision will be made tonight, but we will hear from Mrs. Coons and I believe Mr. Gazzer.
Good evening, my name is Jane Coons, team leader in food share serving Dundas and Stormont.
Sorry, can you turn your mic on?
Good evening. My name is Jane Coons, team leader of community food share serving Dundas and Stormont. Your worship, Mayor Laundrie and council members. Community food share has been looking for a new location in North Stormont for the past few years due to the increased demand from North Stormont residents. The requirement is for an accessible space where we can ensure our cold chain is in place, food donations can be stored, and the ability to offer a similar shopping model available to North Stormont residents who are unable to visit our food banks in either Winchester or Morrisburg. I'm here this evening to provide information about our nonprofit and a request for a space in the building located at 57 Cockburn, Berwick. Go. Again. Perfect. Who we are, our vision, that no person or family in our community goes hungry. Our mission to provide our community with access to healthy food. We do this by promoting the benefits of nutrition, by building partnerships, and by supporting our clients through a variety of challenges. Our core values are welcoming, compassion, cooperativeness, community-oriented, resourceful, and responsible. What we do, we are food bank. Plus we have other support programs with partnerships and community advocates. We do tax preps for any clients that require it. We work with groups that do Christmas baskets, and we have a backpack program. What we do, locations. We have food banks in Morrisburg and in Winchester. We have a warehouse in Winchester, and we also have a satellite here in Finch and another one in Williamsburg. We are open, we provide 5 to 7 days of food once per month, plus emergencies to anyone facing food insecurity. Our food banks are open 3 days a week. We have Healthy Choice, where we provide more than non-perishable foods. We include dairy, fresh produce, meat, bread, and frozen vegetables to make a balanced diet with non-perishable foods. Client Choice, we have shopping lists that we prepared with the Eastern Ontario Health Unit. So that way we are looking at the diet, a healthy diet for our neighbors who choose foods off the shelves. We've been serving in North Stormont since 2016. We have a satellite here at the church in Finch. Clients present, any client in North Stormont is welcome to visit either of our food bank locations, but we have many clients that are unable to go. If you have food insecurity, quite often you're facing issues with transportation as well. So to facilitate that, we have the satellite here. Clients will call the Winchester Food Bank to place an order for a food hamper, and the hampers are packed by our volunteers. They're pre-packed of non-perishable food and perishable food delivered once a week to the satellite pickup on Thursdays. In September, we had 17 families, which was an increase from 5 compared to August.
Yes, we start.
Oh, there you go. My tech guy. Challenges. We have services. Our services are for Client Choice. No, sorry, I apologize. Challenges that we have here in North Stormont at the present time. As you can see, we are in a church hall in Finch. So one, our clients do not have the same choices if they had the opportunity to come in and choose their own food items. Accessibility, as you can see, the steps are quite steep. So the accessibility can be an issue for some of our clients. Food handling, we distribute out of this hall, but we have no refrigeration. So it's coolers and cooling blankets. So we have a concern with our cold chain. We have a volunteer driver who brings the food from Winchester each Thursday to the location in Finch. We've had some issues because some weeks we have a lot of families and there's only so much food we can put into the back of the pickup truck. So we've had to have somebody else bring a second vehicle to make sure all the food got here. And any donations that we receive in North Stormont get brought to our Winchester location because we have no storage presently. As a member of Feed Ontario, all of our food is weighed and stored. So all of that happens in Winchester presently. And we have no extra programming here. Whereas if you come to one of our food bank locations, you need your income tax done or sit down with an advocate to access other services. That is something that we can do in-house. Our request is for a permanent location to effectively serve the residents living in North Stormont, particularly those who are unable to come to one of our other food bank locations. This is where I have to go back to my paper. I can't do both. Progress so far. He had discussions with the CAO, Calder, and with Deputy Mayor for about a space in North Stormont at the school. We've had 2 visits so far, one in June and one in August. A permanent space to serve North Stormont residents, including shopping area to provide Client Choice and other community agencies in our office hours, during our office hours. The space we discussed so we'd have a space where we could store the food here during regular donations and after large food drives. And CFS would look for funding to make the front door accessible. That is, and as well as to purchase refrigeration units and shelving for the setup of the building. As you can see, when we initially had the conversation, our request was for 2 classrooms, but we understand another tenant requires more space. So we were hoping the last conversation I had with CAO Calder was that possibility of the front classroom with the storage room and the single bathroom. Benefits to North Stormont residents would be more convenient location with accessibility and privacy. It is very difficult for someone to come to a food bank. We always respect the clients and residents' privacy to the best of our ability. And we really would like to offer them a client choice model so that they are choosing their soup. Because if you hate mushroom soup, it's nice to have an option to pick something that you enjoy. And community food share on-site staff to ensure consistent personal service. We would have a site staff member on site when we are open, and we would also continue with the volunteers who spend time with us in Finch and help us out in one way or another. The next steps to confirm availability of the space in the school or an alternate location in Berwick or Finch. As I indicated, we would be purchasing refrigeration storing shelving units, and we'd hope to set up some form of a food bank, whether it be small or large, and start serving North Stormont here in the township. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Jane, again. So I'll take any questions from council at this point. Councillor Bocelli.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. One question that I just had, so currently out of the church in Finch, it's only on Thursdays
Yes.
for pickups. Should this progress and that you have a permanent location, full-time location here, has there been talk about what the actual hours would look like, if it would be a full-time, a 5-day-a-week kind of operation or a few days a week?
Well, presently it is from 1 to 3 on Thursdays, and not every appointment is filled at this moment in time. So if we would expand that we could also consider looking at opening it on either a Wednesday night, as we do at the other food banks, and or on a Monday.
Yeah, or Deputy Mayor Densham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for being here. Thanks for bringing the board with you. It's a good show of support. And I know this organization heavily depends on volunteers, as we do as a municipality. And so that's important to have that kind of support. So thank you for being here. I just have a couple of questions. One, and I know you've been talking to Craig, and Craig has kind of filled me in along the way. So I'll ask a couple of detailed questions. One was, maybe you can just help us understand and reinforce the importance of a separate entrance. At one point in time, we were talking about kind of sharing the entrance and then putting another wall in so that our other potential tenant could go through and be separated there. The other question too, because I just want to be sure that it's clear what is being asked here, is did you have any discussions about rental of the facility, like paying rent on a monthly basis or whatever? What's your expectations from that perspective?
Okay, well, I'll answer the first question regarding the door. As I indicated, it's very difficult for people to walk into a food bank. And as a member of Feed Ontario, and we pride ourselves in providing privacy for anybody who requires our services. And as a nonprofit, we also work with a very vulnerable sector. And so that was what the concern was in addressing a private entrance, that we never know who's going to walk through the door. We do encourage appointments, but we always can have walk-ins. And for everybody's safety, that's what the main concern was with the door. And then Dan, would you like to answer the second part of the question?
Yeah, for sure. So as far as budgeting, I believe we did have some discussions as well. We're open to various different discussions, see what can work with everybody. I know when we have a similar arrangement in Morrisburg, in which case there the township's able to donate a space for free. We are a charity. So our budgets are up and down. That said, we are motivated to make sure that we can serve North Stormont. So we're hoping that we can work something out that'll work for everybody.
Great. Thanks for being here.
Any further question, Councillor Shane?
Thanks for your presentation tonight, Jane. Just on one of your points there about the privacy issue, with putting this daycare smack dab between a busy township office and what's going to eventually be a busy daycare, do you see this as a problem for your food bank?
As I said, we want to respect the privacy for anybody who feels that they are, anybody who's facing food insecurity. I don't see it as being an issue. We've had different ideas, throwing ideas back and forth, and I did apply for funding for an accessible door. And I was hoping that conversation could continue, because I did secure a fair amount of money, and to make the doorway work for both parties is what is important to both of us.
Go ahead, Councilor McDonald.
I appreciate the presentation. I also appreciate the work that you guys do. I think what I heard, at least from following your social media, is the use of food banks is up about 30%. I saw that maybe this is a good time to plug that the shelves are somewhat bare and that there's a list of 5 items that they're looking for. So if anyone can donate food, I know I've already set out some stuff and I should have brought it tonight, but I didn't. Dan, you can swing by and pick it up sometime. I know you. But I guess, yeah, the big thing for me is just about compatibility of uses. And if you have any, it sounds like you don't have any perception that there's any type of risk either to your clients or to the people who are using the daycare. Would that be a fair statement?
Mhm. Yes, and one of the conversations that I had with Deputy Mayor when you were first looking to purchase the school, it doesn't make sense to me to have that office space sitting empty Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So the hope would be that we could have that as a shared space because we work closely with legal aid in Cornwall Housing, etc. So to have a space that they could access makes sense to us. We haven't pursued that, but again, it goes to that vulnerable sector and wanting to ensure that everybody is safe. So I'm sure it's something that can be worked out amongst all of us.
Thank you very much.
So when we first got wind of potentially purchasing the school, was assuming was way bigger than what, once we got in there and we started establishing where and what and when, and it got kind of, I think it shrunk.
Mhm.
So that's the part where now we're trying to put everything together. So by no means, I think that the need is there.
Mhm.
I don't know. Now it's just to put the dynamics together. So in regards to our CEO Calder, he was basically told to, okay, let's see. So daycare obviously being one of them that is coming through.
Mhm.
So that appears to be more than a given. So I think now we're in the negotiating part. But to make everything work is where I think council has to sit down and the plan. So we have an architect coming in on, we've got sort of design, but the architect will kind of finalize our plans coming in on Thursday, I believe, Mary. So if we can kind of get everything together, I think that the need, there is the one concern about being more vulnerable and having daycare. So that part, there's other options I think that's going through my head, but right now I don't want to go too fast and see where we'll go. So I think deep down, I want to still look at I see Dan's kind of, something's going through his head. I still want to see if there's anything in North Vermont that we can do to work. But right now, like I say, it's more for, we appreciate the report coming to us so that council can sit down and make and in regards to food bank, might as well take that. So I think some are aware, but the holiday train is scheduled. I think you're the benefactor of that day. So November 27th is, and again, we've had great support from our resident to go and attend that. I'm not sure that anyway, gang, I'm not sure the entertainers that will be on, but they're always nice to see. So I bring, hey, saying he's part of, he's part of it. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm just, again, putting it out there to come and support, and again, benefits to the food share to get the food, especially at this time of year. So again, thank you very much. Dan, did you want to add something?
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to reiterate that we're excited about the idea of the school, but I think our top priority, as we said in the presentation, is to find a location where we can serve North Stormont. So if we're not able to get that location, we're open to alternate ones. Our current location, we're outgrowing it. We want to make sure that we can achieve all of the goals that we're going. We're not stuck on that specific location as much as it is ideal at this time.
We definitely will entertain any with the school. If it doesn't work, I'm sure we'll try to get something out in North Stormont.
Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now, I would like to ask Shauna to come and give us an update on the Cornwall Business Enterprise. just put the mic on when you're ready to go.
There we go. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, council, for having me here today to go over what the Business Enterprise Center is all about. I'd just like to begin by congratulating all those receiving a service award this evening. It's really nice to see a full council, I must say. So my name is Shauna Baggs. I manage the Cornwall Business Enterprise Center. We are located in the Civic Complex in Cornwall. My presentation today will briefly go over some of the different activities that the Business Enterprise Center has done over the last year. We've done quite a few things, and I'm really looking forward to sharing them with you. First, I'd just like to kind of highlight a little bit of our history. So the center itself was established in 1996, so we've been around just over 25 years. Our team itself is very small. So there's myself, Sydney Smith, and Fez Chima, who is our digital service coordinator. Sydney and myself are full-time employees, and Fez is on a contract from a grant that we received for some funding. Our primary funder for the programs that we operate is the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation, and Trade. So the ministry itself has the bulk of our funding, and then we seek outside sources, for example, community partners and sponsors. Our coverage area is all of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry, the city of Cornwall, and Akwesasne. So even though our name is the Cornwall Business Enterprise Center, it really relates more to the location which our office is located in. So we are central in the city at the complex, like I mentioned, but that doesn't mean that we only focus on the city. We definitely cover all of the counties, and I'll go through a few examples of how we've been able to reach out to all the local municipalities. Our daily operations are fed through the Cornwall Economic Development Department, and we work with all of the local townships, the United Counties itself. We have close relationships with the local ACDEV departments. We work as well, like I mentioned, with community partners like Chamber of Commerce. The business center itself, some of you may be familiar with our services, but we're not alone. We actually are part of a provincial network of small business centers across the province, which have about 54 centers or so all over. And this is a great way for us to be able to network with other provincial entities and really help us develop programming, bounce ideas off each other, and create that network of knowledge that we're able to share within our own community. Our center is also affiliated with the Ontario Regional Innovation Centers, or better known as RICs, particularly Launch Lab, which is located in Eastern Ontario. Launch Lab specializes in support for entrepreneurs in the field of innovation and technology. So we do refer some of our clients that are officially startups that need a little bit more support in getting off the ground. These partnerships and affiliations strengthen our center's capabilities to broaden its scope, and it enables us to cater to a wide and diverse range of entrepreneurs in the community. So our goal is really simple, and we'd like to say that we are a one-stop shop. So we want to support the success and growth of small businesses within Cornwall, Akwesasne, and Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry. And by doing this, we have 5 main objectives. So the first is to provide guidance and assistance to business owners through personalized consultations addressing their specific needs and challenges. The second is to disseminate valuable information and resources to small businesses, keeping them informed about market trends, industry insights, and regulatory changes. For the third is we offer training programs and workshops to enhance skills and knowledge of entrepreneurs, empowering them to run their own successful business. The fourth is to facilitate mentorship programs and opportunities, connecting experienced professionals with small business owners to provide guidance, inspiration, and support. And finally, to foster collaboration and networking among small businesses by organizing events and workshops and seminars where people can come together as a community and learn from each other and explore potential partnerships. So throughout the next few slides, hopefully I'll be able to show you how we are meeting these objectives in the activities that we are doing through the center on a daily basis. So I'd like to just point your attention to the number on the side of the screen. So this is a big number, and it really goes to show the impact that small business has on our community. So 98.1% of employer businesses are small businesses. And this indicates the importance and the contribution that the small business sector makes on our local economy. And 64% of that total make up the labor force, about providing employment opportunities and a significant portion for within our communities. So CBEC, which is Cornwall Business Enterprise Center for short, collaborates with the local economic development offices in promoting regional investment opportunities and entrepreneurship. We also work closely with local stakeholders to enhance the attractiveness of the region for potential investors. For example, I have a meeting tomorrow with a group of investors that are actually outside of the country that are looking to invest in Canada, and they have selected our region as a potential place to land, to actually set up business. So that's one of the areas that we try to focus on and attract business that way. We like to showcase all the benefits that our region has by highlighting what resources we have, what infrastructure we have, and that we have a really supportive business environment. So no matter where they settle within the community, whether it be in Glengarry, in Dundas, or in Stormont, that they'll have a supportive network of people that will help them set up and help them succeed. So we actively engage in lots of different marketing and promotional material. You may have seen some of our social media posts online, but we're consistently updating that information, and we are currently actually working on an update for our website. And really all of these different things that I just mentioned, just recognize and value the support that small businesses in our community not only need, but require in order to be successful, in order to bring other things to the community. So like many of you know, everybody knows a small business owner. Their doors are often knocked on. So the value that they bring to a community isn't just the business itself, but it goes for social aspects far and beyond. Okay, so our daily operations are really like the bread and butter of what we do. We do lots of different activities, but this is really how we develop business in the community. So we do lots of one-on-one consultations where we provide entrepreneurs with personalized support. We help them navigate through things like building permits, who to request support to, where to go. And if we don't know the answer, we hope to be well connected enough in the community to be able to get them in touch with someone who can help them. We also help with registering a business. So all businesses in Ontario are required to register their business. There's actually some changes coming later on this week, so stay tuned for that through the province. But everybody is required to register their business, and we can help business owners walk through the process. We do lots of different workshops and training programs, and both of these different things, whether they be workshops online or training programs with a longer term, or really help the business owner not only with a one-on-one consultation, but develop that peer network and that outside community where they can bounce ideas off of each other. So I'll go into a little bit more details about some of the specific training programs that we offer shortly. But a big part of one of our training programs is creating a business plan. And for those of you who've actually created a business plan before, you know that it's not always the easiest thing to do. It can be quite overwhelming. So we've created something where we think that anybody who participates in our programs will not only be able to create a business plan that is well done, but they'll be proud of it, that it will be very comprehensive, and they'll be able to take that plan and actually implement it and action it within our community, with, of course, continuing support from the center. We also put businesses in touch, and we're up to date on different funding opportunities that come out through the program, through the province rather. We do have some funding opportunities through the center itself, but we also like to share whatever funding opportunities are available as a whole. For example, we just shared a funding opportunity that came out with the province for public EV charging stations. So if you know any businesses that would be interested in that, they are accepting applications now. So overall, business development services aim to empower entrepreneurs throughout our entire community, and we try our best to be able to offer services that meet not only the individual needs, but the needs as a whole. So this number I'm really proud of, and it just goes to show that the need for support in our community is there and that it's growing, which is awesome. So this year alone, we have made over 1,200 connections with small business owners in our community. So those connections range from various different types of business, various different types of learning, various different types of consultations. But each individual one is a touch point for a small business throughout our whole coverage area. So really proud to be able to say that we've met all of these different people, and we hope to provide them with ongoing support. So they may have met us once, but that doesn't mean that they come in and we close the door on them. They're allowed back in, and we hope that they do come in so we can follow them throughout their journey. And we try to be as inclusive as possible. So we offer services to anyone that comes through the door. Recently, we have experienced a large portion of our clients, or I should say a larger portion of our clients, are new to Canada. So with that comes different regulatory means and different paperwork that's involved. So we're learning as well, and we're hoping to get them embedded in the community so that they stay here and build their home in our region. So this is a picture of one of our events that we had earlier in the year. It's called an Entrepreneur Roundtable. So these 3 business owners are from the area, and basically what an Entrepreneur Roundtable is that we invite 3 to 4 business owners to sit in front of an audience, and the audience is usually made up of primarily small business owners, and then they can just bounce questions off of them. So the guest panelists explain their background story, they share tips, they share tricks, they say what they wish they would have known before they got started, all that kind of stuff, and open the floor to questions. So it's a real excellent learning opportunity. And again, I can't stress enough that it's also an excellent opportunity to connect again in the community. These topics are very diverse, and all of our either training, webinars, workshops, or things like the entrepreneur panel are always done by expert presenters. We try to have as many interactive opportunities as possible, lots of opportunities for question and answer. We try to encourage feedback at all of our events so that we can make them better continually. And we also try to make them in a place where they can be accessible. So we want to have access for anyone, whether they be in at an in-person event, or if it's makes more sense to have it online, so we can reach people that are in Glen Walter or Alexandria to Winchester. Doesn't matter where they are located within the region, they'll be able to access the services. Part of this 20+ number actually means that we've had more than 20 of these learning events throughout the year. And really, one of the primary programs that we offer that pulls a lot of our participants in these programs is something called the Starter Company Plus. And the Starter Company Plus program is our signature program. It's operated throughout the province at every single center. And we are lucky enough here to be able to offer the program itself. There's some numbers on the side that I can just point your attention to. So over the last couple of years, these are the breakdown of participants in the program. We've had just this year alone, about 125 people register for the program. The program itself does have a grant component, which is really nice. We have $57,000 each year to be able to give to 12 to 14 lucky entrepreneurs that go through the Starter Company Plus program, prepare that business plan through the training, develop a financial forecast, and then their business plan and their financial forecast is scored. And if they're lucky and they score high enough, 12 to 14 then move on to a pitch competition, kind of like Dragon's Den style. And those are excellent days because the energy in the room is just vibrant. You can feel it with all the excitement. So I wish we had a little bit more to be able to give more money, but it is always exciting. And the program is very successful. So whether you get to the grant panel or you get the grant, it doesn't matter. If you've submitted your business plan and you submitted your financial forecast, you are a graduate of the program and you do receive a certificate. And that opens the door for other things. You can take that certificate literally to the bank. You can take the certificate to one of our partners, ACC Futures, which is partnered with us to do an additional micro loan program called ACC Starter, which is hand in hand with this program. So there's additional funds that are accessible to small business owners by taking the program, which would otherwise wouldn't be. Here's an example of some of our entrepreneurs that have taken part in the program. Our next program that we run every summer. It's called Summer Company. You may know in the next slide, I'll be familiar with some familiar faces that have taken part in this program that have been very successful. The stats on the side indicate the popularity of the program. Each year we have 7 grants available, but we have between 20 and 25 students apply for those 7 positions. And it's about 56 to 44% approximately participation. So the counties do have a lot of participants in the Summer Company, which is awesome to see. Here's an example of the last couple of years of some of the Summer Company participants. So you may see some familiar faces. And I believe Rebecca is from North Stormont. She's one of our most successful Summer Company applicants, as well as Bobby, who I'm sure he's going to be a millionaire before he's 30. So some really interesting kids, some really intelligent kids, and it's great to be able to see them right when they're getting started. And even if they participated for one summer, we often find that they continue that business the next summer and as they graduate, and sometimes they even come back to do Starter Company. This is another program that's fairly recent. So throughout the province over the last 4 years, there's something called Digital Main Street. And Digital Main Street wasn't available per se in our community. So in April, we were successful in a grant application to have a digital service squad here in Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry. And by doing so, we got that person. So that's Fez Chima, our digital service coordinator, who's able to go out in person to individual businesses, help them with their digital profile online, but also help them apply for various different funding programs. These are examples of them. Shop here is, it's a 6-month free e-commerce store that you get significant help developing with somebody to help you out. There's also a digital transformation grant, which just ended on September 30th, but I'm really proud to say that we're over leaning towards over 100,000. We're just waiting for the last few applications to be approved. In the back end, $100,000, which would otherwise not be in our community if we didn't have this digital service squad. So over the last 6 months, we've been able to invest $100,000 in the community because of this program offered through the center, but of course within the network of the province. And finally, the digital adoption program, which is currently still accepting applications, and it's a $2,400 grant towards your e-commerce store. These are just some high-level numbers. So you can see when the slide was created, we were at 77,000, but we are like just knocking at 100,000 as of this afternoon. So we're so close. We've met over 400 business owners. There's been 15 e-commerce shops set up. Lots and lots of good things have come through this program, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, tomorrow afternoon they announce that they're going to be extending it into the new year. Here's are some of the examples that, and this is a very small example of all of the different businesses that have been successful in receiving a grant from Digital Main Street. And finally, I would just like to point your attention to this last number. So we have done various different networking events throughout the year. And whenever you think of business support, you often think of going in, sitting down with someone and having them help you with write your business plan, helping them with your financial forecast, potentially marketing and digital services. But one of the really, really important things, and I'd really strongly like to suggest that this is maybe even up there with those one-on-one consultations, is the networking. The amount of networking that's done through breakfast connections, our artpreneur events, through the entrepreneur roundtables, through Small Business Week, like luncheons that we did just last week, are invaluable, because the amount of people that you could meet at those events, make those connections, and in turn, I've seen it with my own eyes, seeing how many businesses are able to enhance their business, grow in partnership, and really drive to become more successful. And also they have that support network for other entrepreneurs in the community. So we've reached over 800 people just this year. We're hoping to top that off with 1,000 by the end of the year through some more events. And I'd just like to highlight, if you're in the neighborhood on November 8th, we will be in Chesterville at Fat Les's Pub and Poutinerie for a breakfast. You're welcome to come. Finally, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'd welcome any questions. I encourage you to follow us through our social channels, whether it be LinkedIn or Facebook. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Shauna. Before I go and see if there's questions, do you sit with so we have our EDOs right across SDG that meet, I think, once. Do you get a chance to kind of collaborate with the EDOs? Because basically, I think everything's in line with so what's that partnership?
Yes. Yes, I definitely do. Yeah, I try to make it every second month or so to the EDO meetings. I know they just had one last Friday at North Dundas. But yes, those are great to attend, not only just to touch base, but see what everybody's doing, but to give updates on what we're doing at the center.
Perfect. Any questions from Deputy Mayor Densham?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Shauna, for being here. As you know, we're a small municipality, so resources like this are golden. And so thank you for all you do. I recognize a few people, even the famous Bobby the Rapper. Raps our bales out here. So that's really good. And as you're probably aware, we don't have an EDO right now. So that's a bit of a gap for us. So if you know any good EDOs, send them Mary's way. But the other thing too, I think would be what I'd love to discuss with our EDO when we get it is sort of the idea of collaborating with some of the funding opportunities, because you have resources there that businesses can tap into, but maybe we can stretch the dollars a little bit between ourselves through CIP or something like that to kind of collaborate, so that it's not just money, but it's actually the resourcing, the network, and those types of things that you're getting. So again, I recognize a number of the people in there, so thank you for what you do. It's very, very important, and it helps really, I think, support many of the small businesses who otherwise may not have the resources that some of the big cities have. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you for coming out tonight, Sean, to give this presentation. It's an excellent program. I know some of the people that are in there. I work with Bobby as well and his summer placement, and he likely will be a millionaire. I went through, I'm not sure if it was with you, but luckily 30 years ago or so, I went through a very similar program. It's great for young entrepreneurs starting their businesses, learning how to set it up, possibly get that grant money. Excellent program, and we're glad to see you bring it to our community.
Perfect. Go ahead, Councillor Bajaj.
Thank you, Shauna. It's good to see you in a different role. I had the pleasure of working with Shauna quite a bit in my day job. The resources that you provide to businesses across across Stormont and Glengarry is fantastic. I know during the pandemic, you were a go-to place for so many businesses that were trying to navigate so many different programs. The summer company program was fantastic. The launch event at the Civic, being able to actually speak and see the presentations from each of these young entrepreneurs, where you can just see it glowing and that they're growing and growing and growing. So I look forward to your relationship that you're able to build when we do have our new economic development officer. We've just recently had our strategic plan meeting, without giving away too much, and I can't, but there is a strong focus on economic development, and as you know, as you mentioned, that small businesses are not just our, but the Canadian economy in general. And a lot of times it's overwhelming for a new business or a small business. So being able to direct them to you and say, hey, Sean, Shauna can fix everything for you. But I look forward to working with you in the township and helping establish a good footprint here in North Shore.
Thank you.
Perfect. So thank you very much. You, the food chair, you're welcome to stay and join us as we recognize but we're going to move on with the agenda and get back on track. So moving on to the adoption of the previous minutes of October 10th, 2023.
Be it resolved that the following minutes be approved as presented. Regular meeting 10th of October. Moved by Councillor Shane, seconded by Deputy Mayor Densham.
Any discussions on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion's carried. Moving on to municipal bylaws. So bylaw 75, 2023.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 75-2023 being a bylaw to appoint persons to sign for the banking business of the corporation of the township of North Stormont be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 24th day of October 2023. Moved by Deputy Mayor Densham, seconded by Councillor Shane.
Any discussions? Pretty self-explanatory. All in favor? Motion's carried. So new business, recognizing the awards for our service firefighters. So I was on there, many of you know, for 30 years. So I know how important it is for firefighters to the service that they give a municipality. I know the demands are getting tougher and tougher. I think when you go back 30 years, it was slightly different than what you guys are facing today. But again, safety is first, as Nancy relates to us as far as the training that's required and the mandate. So thank you very much. Nancy, were you wanting to do the presentation? Then we can close up the correspondence and then perfect. So I don't know if you all know, but Nancy lost her voice. So take it away, Nancy. Yeah, so do we have a list, or how did you want to?
Give them to you.
You're gonna bring them up to me? You can come right here. Hey, oh, are we presenting them off one? Perfect. So Steve, do you want to maybe, well, I can pop out up, everybody can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna start with gentleman I know really well, Steve Pate, with 30 years of dedicated service to the North Stormont Fire Service, starting in 1991 to 2021. We do one-on-one and then we'll do Hey.
Same uniform.
Thank you, Steve. So we started with the least amount of service, now we're. Okay. Moving on to even more years, I'd like to invite Keith Van Hagen for 35 years of dedicated service to the township of North Carolina Fires. Yeah. Yes, very much. There you go. Wait a minute. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Steve. On to Nicolas Sunberg for 5 years of dedicated service. Again, to the fire. Yeah. Moving on to Station 2, I'd like to welcome Mr. Hans Peter Tanner for 15 years of dedicated service to the North Vermont Fire Service. You're also retired in this year. Yeah. February, so. Yes. Congratulations, Hans. Next on the list, I'd like to welcome up Ryan Schwank, again with Station 2 for 5 years of dedicated service with the North Vermont Fire Service. Another retiree, I'd like to invite Mr. Gary Adams for 20 years of service with the Avonmore Station of the North Vermont Fire. And also Carrie was also our deputy chief in station. 2, 3, right? Well, I think the gentleman is right here, might as well get it a little closer. It's presented to Todd Bailey for 15 years of dedicated service. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Derek Orr for 15 years of service with North Carolina Fire Service, and also getting, I think our training level have increased. So again, welcome. With this. And last, I'd like to invite Mr. Jonathan Jans for 15 years of dedicated service to the first with the Moose Creek Fire or Nation. So we do not have much on our agenda. We'll wrap that up and then we will be serving all that, get the opportunity to council. So you can bear with me for not too long. We'll get this. So moving on to correspondence, 12.12. To 12.6.
Be it resolved that council receives the correspondence as listed as items 12.1 to 12.6 on the agenda, moved by Councilor McDonald, seconded by Councilor Pagelli.
Any discussions or comments on the correspondence? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving the reports? Thank you. Our scheduled meeting, next meeting will be November 14th and November 28th. No closed session, so I guess we can go into the ratification.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 76-2023 being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify council's actions at its regular meeting of October 24th, 2023. Be read a first, second, and third time, as signed and sealed in open council this 24th day of October 2023. Moved by Councilor Pagelli, seconded by Councilor McDonald.
All in favor? Motion's carried. And last, the adjournment.
Be it resolved that this regular meeting adjourn at 7:26 PM. Moved by Councilor McDonald, seconded by Councilor Pagelli.
Any further last questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and hopefully we can enjoy